A couple of years ago, I did a video ranking the Congenialities of Drag Race based on their track records, aka their PPE scores, using this point system. This is not necessarily an objective ranking of their performances on the show, but it's pretty close to it. And also, it's not a ranking of how congenial they are, because how would I know? Being voted by the fans, or the queens, as the Congeniality of any given season has really nothing to do with your competition performance. Although, when it was the fans voting, the Congeniality title mostly went to the queen that the majority of the fandom saw as robbed, or who, in general, was the fan favorite. So this ranking is just for fun. Let's see how Jane Don't's crowning as Season 18's Congeniality changes the previous year's ranking. If you would like to help the channel, you can like this video, leave a comment, and of course, make sure you're subscribed. You can also become a member of the channel, where you would have seen this video earlier, and where there are already some exclusive videos for you to watch. Starting us off in the last place, we have the Miss Cuckoo of Season 13, LaLa. She started the season off as part of the winner's circle, and let's be real, she was only there because Denali was not allowed to change for their lip sync in the first episode. Therefore, LaLa's draft into the winning circle is very questionable, fueled even more by her later performance in the season. However, she did redeem herself on All Stars 8, having a pretty good run on there. Next, we're talking about Season 8's Cynthia Lee Fontaine. Cynthia's run on Season 8 ended prematurely due to her health issues, so she was not really competing in Season 8 at her 100%. Therefore, we can excuse her subpar performance in that season. However, we did see her again in Season 9 and All Stars 10, and Cynthia didn't really wow us there either. Regardless of the fact, Cynthia is truly the embodiment of Congeniality, the nicest queen in the cast, which is why I still call this title the Miss Cuckoo title. Next, it's another favorite of mine, Season 12's Heidi in Closet. I love Heidi, but Jeté and she, as the representatives of Season 12, did get the short end of the stick on there, in regards to their edits, of course. However, it's clear that both the queens from Season 12 and the audience loved Heidi. She's truly one of my favorite queens from the show, and I hope that we will see her on another All-Star season in the future, but not with the brackets format. Next, we have someone who was both Miss Congeniality and fan favorite of her season, Latrice Royale. Sometimes I forget just how lovable Latrice was on Season 4. My view of her is admittedly clouded by her low-key entitled attitude on All-Stars 4. However, on Season 4, even though she was not a strong competitor, and even though she spent most of the season safe in Untucked, she was a beacon of positivity and professionalism. Also, what a lip syncer. On Season 4, she showed us that you don't have to throw yourself around the stage to be a good performer. Next up, we have Miss Cuckoo that I sort of always forget about, Malaysia Babydoll Foxx. I binged Season 15 and 16 back to back, so some of the queens from there I don't really remember. So I went on YouTube to see some of Malaysia's moments from Season 15, and it was literally just the lip syncs and some fights that she had on there. But it's kind of funny, given that she was the Miss Cuckoo of her season, that the first thing that YouTube gives me about her are her fights. I remember that Malaysia had a pretty calm and calming demeanor about her, but that her challenge performances were not necessarily the best. However, she is a really good performer. The next four queens all have the score of 3. The worst of the 4 is the queen with 2 mini challenge wins and a 7-episode longevity in the competition, Xunami Muse. Xunami is one of the 2 Miss Cuckoos from Season 16, and honestly, I think that she's very underrated on her season. While she was not the funniest, nor like the most extravagant of a performer, I think that her runway looks were absolute sleeper hits on the season. Her Cher runway and her Pussycat wig runway still have me bricked up. Next, we have a queen with 2 minis and an 8-episode run on her season, Pandora Boxx. It is insane to me that Pandora does not have a single maxi challenge win under her belt across 3 seasons. I am a fan of Pandora's, and I think that she's very underrated. Ru at one point even said that Pandora's audition tape for Drag Race was the funniest ever tape submitted to the show, but that probably has changed since. She was the OG theater comedy queen, and without Pandora, we would not have had the likes of Jinx, Dela, Miss Cracker, Jan, Marsha, and similar queens of this archetype. But Jessica should have been the Miss Cuckoo of Season 2, let's be real. Next, with again 2 mini challenge wins but a 10-episode run on her season, we have Season 10's Monét Exchange. Monét is the first Miss Cuckoo voted by the other queens. However, the funny thing is, she won that title by like 4 votes. Not even half of the cast voted for her. So it's somewhat a questionable result, especially knowing how much of a troll Monét is. But that's why I love her as Miss Congeniality, because it makes no sense. On season 10, Monét was still not fully baked and ready for Drag Race, but even so, she still had some pretty good challenge performances. Her jump split fake out is still one of the best gags ever done in a lip sync, and hey, she later placed second on All-Stars 4 and on All-Stars 7, so she redeemed herself from her season 10 run, even though she did not even do that poorly on that season. The queen with the purest PP score of 3 is season 17's Crystal Envy. Crystal, in another universe, had Sam Starr's run on season 17. Crystal did not spend a lot of time in the competition, but before her elimination, she was either safe or high, being the second best queen in 3 challenges. I do think that she was eliminated prematurely, but I also know that she's going to deliver it on an all-star season once she's cast. Next up, it's the Miss Cuckoo of season 3, Yara Sofía. Yara was not necessarily congenial, but then again, who on season 3 was? Truly, the cast was rotten, and that's why the season was so fun to watch. I guess the audience resonated with Yara's whimsical and likable personality, so they awarded her the title. She, like every other All-Stars 1 queen, got fucked over, and on All-Stars 6, she did not last long enough to actually be considered a threat for the crown. So I wonder if we will ever see Yara again on the show. If you ask me, they should have already done an All-Stars 1 redo with the original cast, but without Chad and Raven. Next, we have Nina West, a queen from another rotten cast, but this time, Nina really was the Miss Congeniality there. She absolutely should have stayed after her lip sync against Silky. Well, okay, it should have been a double sachet, but if we have to keep one of them, Nina should have stayed. I think she is one of the very few queens that we actually remember for how nice she was, rather than, let's say, her impact on the competition. However, somebody whom we remember for both her competition performance and for how nice she was is Ivy Winters. Ivy comes from a season of Drag Race that I would say has had the best story of all. She was one of the heroes of the season, Jinx's sidekick, but also kind of her love interest in that story, that got taken out by one of many villains on that season, fueling Jinx even more to beat them all. Even though she was mostly an accessory to Jinx's story, Ivy is still a very well-remembered queen, who I doubt we will ever see on an All-Star season again. However, she didn't have many struggles in the competition in season 5, so there's really not much that she would have to redeem. From Jinx's sidekick love interest, we go to Jinx's business partner in BenDeLaCreme. DeLa, while definitely being, to an extent, congenial, did get the title of Miss Cuckoo because fans consider her to be the robbed queen of season 6. This is definitely helped by the fact that, kind of like Pandora, the production chose to use her as the sacrificial lamb of that season that they would treat unfairly in order to see her crack. DeLa did not crack, but the competition did get to her. However, she did redeem herself on All-Stars 3, and she set into motion the format being broken on All-Stars 4. The next 2 queens have the same PP score, and in any other circumstance, their order here would be reversed. However, the queen I'm about to talk about did leave the season due to an injury, never being formally eliminated, so naturally her score is higher. It's Kornbread, of course. Watching the first couple of episodes of season 14, you would be right to assume that Kornbread was going to win the season. She wins her first episode, we see her relationship with many other queens in the cast and how she influences them, we see the judges living for her, and her confessionals are very prominent. Kornbread's main role in the story of season 14 globally was her being the first step to humbling Jasmine and helping her come to terms with her trans identity, or rather, setting that in motion, and then also being Willow Pill's friend, which is low-key Willow's only storyline on that season. Next, we have a person because of whom they had to change how Miss Cuckoo title was awarded. It is her, Valentina. What a once-in-a-lifetime character. She came into the season and said, no, you do not have to do any twisting of my personality or any editing of me. I'm going to do it all. What I love also is that the production knew that she was the main character of season 9, that not only did they favor her in the competition, but also they had her do that little live stream with Michelle before the season started, so that her elimination felt even more scandalous. her not being fluent in Spanish, but in English, talking with this fake transatlantic Hispanic accent is such high camp. Just thinking of Valentina makes me appreciate how absolutely insane and campy she is. And speaking of insane and campy, Katya. Remember what I said about Pandora and LaLa and them being the fan favorite robbed goddesses of their seasons? Yeah, well, Katya. Katya should have won season 7. Knowing that season 7 was themed around old school versus new school drag, Katya should have won as someone who's right between those two camps. Congenial? I guess. Good in the competition? Very much so. A robbed fan favorite, which is why she won the title? Yeah. That's it. Actually, maybe not robbed goddess, not that archetype. Katya and the next 3 queens I would consider more as fallen angel archetypes. Someone that easily could have won their season, maybe even should have won them, but they just didn't do it for one reason or another. Oh yeah, it's time to talk about Jane Don't. Jane, I think, might be the first Miss Cuckoo who's all 3 of these things. Robbed in a way, a fan favorite, definitely, but also actually congenial. Throughout season 18, we watched Jane go out of her way to help her castmates, while also doing better than them in pretty much every challenge thrown at her. She's a legend, and if she's ever on an all-star season, they really should set the season up for her to win it. We cannot talk about Miss Cuckoos that could or should have won their seasons without mentioning Nina Flowers. I love Nina Flowers so much. Her winning season 1 is the show's biggest what if, because with her winning it, the show would not have gone the feminine RuPaul-esque fashion route for the next couple of winners. They would have awarded the more alternative styles of drag, which then would have affected the casting, the challenges, and everything that we know about the show. She's one of a kind, and I want to see her back on an all-star season as soon as possible. And in the first place, it's, of course, season 16's Sapphira Cristál, who I doubt will ever be dethroned here. What a once-in-a-lifetime talent. Anything she does excellently well. I genuinely think that she would have won season 16 had she simply not used her immunity potion when she did not need to do it. I've mentioned All-Stars so many times in this video, but truly, Sapphira is due an All-Stars win. If I were a queen competing on a future All-Star season, and if I were to walk into the workroom and see Sapphira there, I would just leave. Like, I would just not want to be there, because why would I put myself through the humiliation of losing to her? Well, actually, it wouldn't be a humiliation. It would be more like honor to lose to Sapphira. And that's it. That's the video. I cannot wait to hear how none of these placements make any sense, and I cannot wait for someone to think that they're being smart by spoiling upcoming All-Star seasons in the comments. Thank you for watching.